All right, quick video here. I came back to this channel that's basically dead and I don't really use anymore um, because I felt compelled to make this video. This fucking Ahsoka finale was terrible. I mean, I don't even know what they're going for. I understand there might be a season two and a lot of this shit's going to be leading up to it, but like, what's the end game here? I just feel so cheated of my time these last 7 weeks watching this show. And I mean, it had its good episodes. Episode 5 was pretty decent. I mean, a lot of it was because the whole Anakin stuff. Right off the bat, let's talk about the actress who plays Ahsoka in this show. Maybe it's not fair to necessarily blame the actress. It might have just been the writing, but holy shit, they really neutered Ahsoka's character. I understand she's supposed to be older and wiser, but like, why does she have no emotion at all anymore? I mean, why even make the show if you're going to completely assassinate her character? This is almost as bad as what they did with Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. Um, Sabine basically stole the show. She was the best part of it. But this finale is just nonsensical. We're left with way more questions than answers. And yes, I know that this may be leading to a season two, but I don't even know because the main factor here is the actor who played um, Balin, Ray Stevenson, rest in peace to him. Um, Obviously, isn't going to be around for the next season. So, what do they do now? I don't understand for the life of me how it just ended up with Ahsoka and Sabine stuck in the world of worlds, and they seem completely like content with that, especially like Ahsoka. I mean, even if you go back to like episode 6 when like Ezra just embraced like his lifestyle with these animals, it's like, what are we doing here? What are these characters' motivations? And I mean, probably the worst part of the whole episode is Sabine ultimately staying behind to save Ahsoka. I mean, it makes no sense at all. I mean, they didn't establish enough of a relationship between the two of them for us to believe that Sabine would care about Ahsoka that much, rather than you know uh, going with Ezra, the love of her life, who she sacrificed everything for. Uh, it's retarded. It makes no sense at all, and they wasted way too much time building up this Morgan character as like a Night Sister, and then Ahsoka just owns her in like 2 minutes. Um, and what are they doing with Balin and Shin? I mean, like, they spent this whole season like teasing like dissension between them, and they don't even interact in the final episode or say a word. Like, their story is left completely unresolved. I understand like cliffhangers and stuff, but this whole show, it just seemed like there was like a whole lot of dead time, and there was no like um there's really no dynamics between any of the characters. I mean, uh, Hera was mostly on the sidelines for this entire show. Ahsoka was basically a non-factor in her own show. This is a lot like with the Book of Boba Fett, what happened, how Boba Fett wasn't even the most important part of his show. Um, I thought this show had a lot of potential and a lot of cool ideas, but they really dropped the ball tonight with this final episode. And can we stop pretending Dave Filoni is George Lucas? I mean, for God's sakes, like, obviously the guy has some good ideas, but he's just way too indulgent with his own bullshit. I mean, uh, everything he does is just like self-pandering and serves no purpose to the storyline. Can we stop making Ahsoka like invincible, please? It's just it's so annoying. I mean, basically everything since George Lucas left has been dog shit for the most part. I understand we got the Siege of Mandalore with and that was mostly Dave Filoni's baby, but for the most part, these Seven of Clones, it felt very like Disney like. The Mandalorian was good, at least the first 2 seasons, but other than that, what's been good about Disney Star Wars as far as, like, media and the, movies and shows they've produced? I mean, um, I don't know, this whole show, it just seemed like it was building up to something that never happened, like, it was completely anticlimactic. uh I mean, Thrawn didn't really do anything either. He just basically stood around and talked about his plans to escape. He didn't seem like overly concerned about um escaping, and it shouldn't have been so easy for him. There was really no like battle at all. Um I don't know. I just feel like it was really lazy and sloppy writing. I really had my hopes up because episode 7 was actually pretty good. I thought it's going to lead to something here, but like so what's gonna happen now? Are Ahsoka, Sabine, Balin, and Shin just gonna live on that in that world between worlds happily ever after? I mean, it makes no sense. Why wouldn't Sabine want to escape? She wants to stay there with Ahsoka and do what? Train with her? For what purpose? For all they know, they're never going to leave that world. It was such a boneheaded decision tonight, and it really pissed me off. It'd be one thing if like you can just binge these shows, which by the way, why in 2023 do we have to still wait week to week for these episodes to air? Because you have it hanging over your head for like 7 weeks. You want to see what's going to happen. Whereas if I binge this in like 2 or 3 days, I wouldn't have been as disappointed or cared. But that wasn't an option, which really sucks. 'Cause I just feel cheated of my time now. Um, because sure, the buildup was good in certain places, but it ultimately led to nothing. And come on, it was cheesy. Anakin looking down on her at the end, and another little plot hole here. Why does Ahsoka look back on Anakin so fondly? I mean, this is the man who became Darth Vader and killed younglings and was responsible for the eradication of the Jedi Order. Why the fuck is Ahsoka like putting him on a pedestal? He wasn't always so great to her either. Um, so I thought all of that was unnecessary. I mean, um, like I said, episode 5 was good. Some of the stuff with Anakin, Hayden Christensen's come a long way, and he seemed, you know, happy to be there and put in a good performance and stuff. But like ultimately, nothing came of it. It was all bullshit for the most part. Um, this show and Rosario Dawson's like deadpan act, I'm so fucking tired of. Sabine stole the show and was basically the only thing to enjoy here. I did like Ray Stevenson, but he was in like 4 episodes, and they didn't do enough with him. That's another thing, real quick. Um, don't want to ramble about this forever, but like in the early part of the season, he was talking about these like grand plans. Whatever happened to them? He just like was looking off of like the top of a mountain, like I don't know. Are we supposed to just conclude that he lost and it's not going to happen? Why put all that buildup into it, into his grand like master plan, if it not only didn't come to fruition, it didn't even come close. He wasn't like a threat at all. Um, and another, why are the Night Sisters associated with the Empire and with Thrawn? Why are they like kissing his ass? Maybe I'm missing something here. I just don't know the lore enough, but I'm fucking confused as hell. Like, I didn't like Mandalorian season 3 much, but I knew what they were going for. With this, I'm puzzled as to the direction. Like, I would have rather they just killed Ahsoka off because what is there to do at this point with Ahsoka? People were mad back in the day when like Ahsoka wasn't killed during the Clone Wars, but I mean, I could understand that. They actually did some really good stuff with her leaving the Order and stuff. That was all compelling. But like, what's the sense in even keeping her alive now? I don't know, man. They say this is supposed to be like season 4 of Rebels, but like other than Sabine and Ezra's inclusion like at the end, it really didn't have anything to do with Rebels or the characters. I mean, Thrawn was just kind of there. Um I liked Ezra a little more in this than in Rebels, I guess. He wasn't as, annoying, but, there's just really a lot of wasted potential because, um, the actress who played Sabine was good and stuff, but it became the Sabine show. Shouldn't it really have been more about Ahsoka when you think about it? I'm really disappointed. I mean, about halfway through the episode, something didn't feel right. It felt like it was kind of going nowhere, but I reserved judgment until the very end. And oh, I guess Sabine felt Anakin's presence through the Force. Who cares? All of this shit is so illogical and like I couldn't imagine being a new Star Wars fan and, not really knowing the lore at all and watching this show. You'd have been fucking puzzled by all of this chaotic bullshit, and then you have all these storylines going on, and yet there's no resolution to any of them. I mean, what's Balin and Shin's endgame? And like that, there's no showdown between Thrawn and Ahsoka. Thrawn just arrogantly is basically like, "Haha, I escaped," is basically summarizing what he said in so many words. But yeah, and they did a terrible job establishing they failed to establish any real connection between Sabine and Ezra. The dialogue and just the acting between them was really robotic, like worse than Anakin and Padme in Attack of the Clones type shit. Um, so it's just I don't know what to say. I'm really disappointed with this finale. This show, it had flashes of brilliance. It had some good ideas that were not really executed well. Can we stop pretending Dave Filoni's a legend? I mean, it's pretty clear he doesn't really care about the fans. He cares about serving his own bullshit agenda. And like, I mean, his favorite all-time Star Wars character is Plo Koon. All he cares about is being a fanboy and bringing that sort of shit to life. Ever since George Lucas left, Star Wars has been a shit show, and these shows keep coming out year after year. I mean, hell, they had, yeah, Ewan McGregor for Obi-Wan. Even he couldn't save it. It still sucked because the writing is just terrible. I know that had nothing to do with Dave Filoni, but my point is everything is so just has this like Disney feel. Like it's not fun. This isn't the Star Wars like um we all knew and love. I mean, everything is just I don't know, it's a bizarre mix between like fairy tale Disney bullshit, like Rey being a Skywalker and just her whole terrible ass arc. And also intertwined is the fucking fanboys and all this like lore shit that like Disney's just catering to. I mean, Star Wars community never used to be like this. Yes, we had passionate fans in the community, but now it's just all these fucking indulgent people. I mean, in the wrestling world, we call them smarks, basically, just people who act like the shit is real and they act like know-it-alls and they infect this product. And I think that's what the majority of Star Wars fans are now. It's a very toxic fan base. I talked about that on this channel a couple years ago. Um, and it's ended up being a little longer than I wanted to be, but I had to get some thoughts out about all of this. I keep saying everything's bullshit, but that's what it feels like right now because I just spent 7 weeks watching this show, waiting to see what's going to happen, and it looked like it was going to be good. But this ending just kind of takes everything away. Renders everything like pointless. Um, I don't know what they were going for. If the show is supposed to be about Ahsoka, she had very little character development in this entire show. Whereas in the Clone Wars, it was the complete opposite. You saw her grow up and mature and start making independent decisions for herself. Where here, I don't know, she's just kind of depressed and is acting bitchy and condescending to Sabine. I I don't know what to fucking say. Sorry if this video wasn't very coherent. These were just kind of some raw initial thoughts about this finale, but I think it sucked. I mean, yeah, special effects are cool. That's always a given with Star Wars, but as far as the plot and characterization, fucking terrible. They could have taken this in so many directions, and I'm really disappointed they didn't. Um, the show was okay, but this ending really left a bad taste in my mouth. So I don't know where they go from here. Um, will they have a season two? I'm guessing probably not with the unfortunate passing of Ray Stevenson. Wow, they dropped the ball on his character too, because he seemed like he was gonna be quite a presence early on in the show, but they just kind of abandoned that story in favor of this Night Sister bullshit. Why do they have to keep throwing the Night Sisters into everything? That was even pissing me off a little bit during Clone Wars when they had to have that episode with Mace Windu fighting Mother Talzin. Like, who the fuck cares about any of this? It's just I don't know, man. The Star Wars feels fucking dead. It just feels completely like creatively bankrupt. Like they're out of ideas, and it's like these shows they keep getting worse and worse, and keep becoming more complicated and illogical. Like I mean, one of the best Star Wars films in the entire franchise is the very first one, the most simple story. You know, because people could actually relate to it and relate to the characters, but that seems to be missing now. And I know people said that about the prequels too, but Anakin had great characterization and it was all about his fall to the dark side. And the Clone Wars gave even more context for all of that sort of stuff. So I don't think that's really a valid argument with the prequels anymore. But man, ever since Disney took over, it's like they keep fucking assassinating this franchise. It's sad because 15 years ago today, or I guess yesterday now, um, Star Wars: The Clone Wars aired on Cartoon Network, and those first two episodes, one of them wasn't great, but the very first episode, Ambush, that was better than this finale, and that was like when Clone Wars was low budget and kind of not even really being taken seriously. I know Dave Filoni gets a lot of credit. Again, I think he has some good ideas, but it's just like it really comes off as like fan fiction a lot of the time, all of his stuff. He doesn't know how to close, and what I mean by that is like these series that he's been a part of, they just always have like lackluster endings and like there's way too much downtime in these shows. I thought that when Tales of the Jedi came out last year that th- there's not enough like I understand there's not going to be like dialogue all the time, but there's not even, like, a lot of, like, action scenes, like, a lot of time consists of characters either looking around or walking somewhere, and I get that that's supposed to build up suspense, but I swear shit like that becomes, like, half the episode, and it becomes a major, like, waste of time. You'd be better served putting that kinda time into developing characters and dynamics between characters because ultimately without that why would anyone give a fuck what's happening in this universe? I mean, yeah, there's cool special effects and like spaceships fighting each other, but if you want that, go watch fucking like Star Trek or something. George Lucas said a long time ago Star Wars is all about like families and like relationships and shit like that, and you know not just human connections because there's obviously aliens in Star Wars, but just connections between people. All of that shit is missing. The spirit of Star Wars is just fucking dead. And I thought this might have been a hidden gem, but man, this fucking episode was horrible. Why like, another small thing, why didn't Ezra like care that Sabine didn't come with him? He was all like smiles at the end. I get he's happy to be home, but when he saw Hera, he wasn't like distraught that Sabine wasn't there with them. Man, I don't know if it's the acting or the writing, but they really did not convey the relationship between Ezra and Sabine good enough at all. What was the point in making Ahsoka and Sabine have a rocky relationship if Sabine was just gonna sacrifice herself for her in the end anyway? That just makes her look like a retard for not going with Ezra. I really don't know what they're going for. I'm fucking confused and puzzled and pissed off that I wasted time watching this show because there were some good parts of it, but guys, you gotta stop worshiping Dave Filoni and everything he touches. He keeps fucking up these stories continuously. Um, there will never be another George Lucas. I hate to be so bleak about it, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna lie and say that these new shows are anywhere near the quality of even the prequels. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Why do we have to pretend to like this shit? It's not good. Sure, the battles they're cool, Character dynamics, not so much. So that's pretty much all I gotta say. Fuck this show.